It's called challenging. Because you know you can be challenging to deal with, he said. My lover is a kind, patient, caring man, someone who surprises me with dinner, buys me flowers, and scrubs far more dishes than I ever will. Someone who I realized was not trying to harm me, but was stating what he saw as fact, simply parroting something I frequently say about myself. I do so jokingly when I talk to others, and sometimes seriously when we discuss our relationship. I say it as a way to dull what I think is the blow of me, to soften what I think are sharp, dangerous edges, to make more accessible my threatening ledges. Overwhelming, challenging, difficult, high maintenance. These are the words women who dare honor their truth become used to hearing, was something I'd grown so accustomed to hearing that I etched it into my skin as part emblem, part wall. As a disclaimer, a way I could call myself too much before someone else could. It was a means of acting nonchalant about how this title has followed me since my hips widened and my voice grew stronger, since I won spelling bees in elementary school and gathered all the girls together to report the boy who was sexually harassing us. And it followed me to my dating, to the men who would fall too fast and too deep for the me they placed on a pedestal and then back out once the reality of a flesh and blood woman with real needs and desires stood before them. They would return like clockwork a month later and say, please give me another chance. I was just scared, overwhelmed by how I felt when what they meant to say was I just felt small in your presence. It followed me to my first slam poetry contest, where the father of a fellow student at my college told me that my poetry was so angry that I just needed to not shock people with such angry things coming out of such a pretty girl. And it follows me when I get drunk and loud and yell at men outside of bars for trying to reduce me to something visually consumable, and it especially follows me when I am told men might harass me less if I just toned it down a notch, as if men are reptiles and I am an injured fawn sipping from the banks of their swamp. And when I accepted that title, when I stuffed myself into it like a too small dress that tightened around the collar with time, I gave others permission not to reflect on why they felt small around me, to not do the work necessary to find out why a woman filled with aria and absinthe terrified them so. It gave me the opportunity to say it first, because what defense did I have against this word difficult, hurled at women for millennia? How, with the blood of my foremothers who survived the Inquisition, could I argue that my tricolored hair, my expertly applied cat eye, my flowing dresses or feather earrings were somehow easy, laid back, cool, and unassuming? A lifetime of sexism is laid at our doorsteps the moment our gender is revealed, and we, with tiny girl arms, gather the pieces and carry them like a strange, toxic puzzle, like an uninvited name tag. We carry them until our girl hearts are weary with how the boys expand into their bodies as we learn to grow into discord with our own. We carry them as women even when our flesh is charred, dripping in ribbons from our bones. We carry them long after we discover that they create no coherent picture. We carry them because not carrying them is met with the same fate. And therein lay the crux. Girls, you don't need to be easy or accommodating. You don't need to be cool or laid back, chill or low maintenance. You don't need to assuage delicate egos, don't need to swallow every ember and weave your throat scars into a tapestry for them. You don't need to run into rooms waving your difficult flag like a peace sign, like an injury, claiming you never liked other women because they're so complicated. You don't need to hide the blood. Your foremothers didn't suffer for you to swallow your voice. Because, my dear, they saw it the moment you entered. And the word that escapes them, the word they replace with all the pejoratives because they are so busy picking their stomachs up off the floor, is power. So go on. Step right out of that toe-tight dress and into whatever your truth looks and feels like. Maybe it's badass blue jeans, smooth satin, or latex and tight. Maybe it's backless or frontless or buttoned up to the sky. And damn it, don't walk into a room. I said, don't you just walk into any room. You arrive. You declare. And I don't mean to show up and be loud. I mean just be there with all of the colors that comprise your song, with all the fire that lifts that spark in your eye. You own all that power. You wield all that flame. You pull out all that shit that anyone ever called difficult, and you lie it on the table like a gun.